Attack on Titan got a new ending, or for clarification, it got a new post-credit scene at the end of its movie release a few days ago, and it's quickly making the rounds on the internet, and there's even a clip that's out which I'll kind of go over in a second, but basically overall, Attack on Titan has once again re-entered into discussion for the anime community, and rekindling the good and the bad from the community all in its entirety, because obviously for a very long time now, for years now, Attack on Titan's ending has been a huge point of discussion and controversy with a lot of people. And not to really dig up like old conversations, but obviously the community when it comes to Attack on Titan's ending is rather split 50-50 down the middle. It has since changed a little bit over the years where people are more or less accepting of the ending, especially if, let's say, you're an anime only, but for manga readers, more or less, it seems like the divide between the community is roughly the same. But anyways, getting into the main point, basically a movie came out a few days ago, and it is basically the recompiling of the final season, the final chapters of Attack on Titan's, anime, all compiled into one long movie, and it's basically everything's the same besides from what I've been told, a few little additions or cuts, like maybe different frames and stuff animated better, but then when you get to the credit sequence and then the post-credit sequence, that is when there is new content, and that new content is this. Or to show a better image of some of this, it's basically this content from the Attack on Titan spin-off manga called Attack on School, and here's even an image from the post-credit sequence. Now, there is a lot to take in from this image alone, and so let's kind of explain it. So basically, what Studio MAPPA and what the movie adds in basically implies that Attack on Titan, you can look at it in two different ways. You can look at it as a little fun nod to the spin-off of Attack on Titan School, and say that, okay, more or less, it's like, and just a little fun thing for those that are mega fans of the series, and maybe a different way to really look at the entirety of its series. It's more of a critique of how the fans feel about the show. Because when you look at, like, what this adapts, like, for instance, this entire sequence basically adapts them coming out of the movie theaters after watching Attack on Titan, very meta, by the way. Basically, you have this is what they adapted, and it's pretty much like Armin, Mikasa, and Eren discussing their feelings of the movie, the ending mainly in question, and how people would react to it, and you can see that there's a lot of positivity, negativity, and Eren overall as a character basically says that, he's just happy he got to watch it with everyone, and if there is a sequel, he hopes that they can all watch it together. It's very distinct opinions, and it definitely summarizes the community, I think, for Attack on Titan very well, but basically, for Studio MAPPA and for the movie to have this added in for the post-credit sequence, it feels like it's more or less acknowledgement of two things. It's acknowledgement of how people feel about the ending of Attack on Titan, and like the positivity and negativity of it, but it's also a nod to potentially opening up the door for a sequel of some kind. Because with the statement from Eren himself basically saying that there is a sequel, they hope they would go watch it, it's implied that it's opening up the door for it. And to be fair, Attack on Titan is a cash cow. It makes a lot of money. It's definitely something that is very popular in Japan and overseas, and so it makes a lot of sense why the producers, the people on, in the studios, the suits and everything, they would not want Attack on Titan to theoretically come to an end. Even if, let's say, Isayama, the author of Attack on Titan, doesn't necessarily want to continue writing the said story for whatever reason, I could definitely see him potentially signing over the rights to someone else to potentially carry on that legacy for an anime can continue being made of Attack on Titan. Will it be the same thing? No, but the point is that there is a lot of money to be made in Attack on Titan, and and we all know how companies are, they like to milk things. If it makes money and it can print money, they're going to try to milk it as much as they can, and Attack on Titan definitely would suit the bill if that's indeed the case. But anyways, I'm getting a little bit off topic. The point of the matter is that the post-credit sequence is being discussed a lot, and the movie that came out is now being labeled as basically a 10 out of 10 on some sites, this site in particular, and I haven't watched the movie myself, so I'm not going to really say what rating it is or how I feel about it. If it more or less is the exact same thing as the actual anime, besides a few little minor changes, I can see why people really enjoy it. It doesn't really change my overall perspective of the ending of Attack on Titan. I feel like it still could have been better, but at the end of the day, I can see why people enjoy the anime because the music, the voice acting, and everything definitely adds a different layer to it that really makes it above and beyond the manga equivalent. But anyways, let's actually dive a little bit deeper into this post-credit sequence and why it's a pretty fascinating topic right now. So one thing about this whole sequence that really gets me is that it implies that everything that happened in Attack on Titan, in one way you can look at it, was more or less, it was a movie. For instance, Attack on Titan's entire premise, everything Eren went through and every other character throughout the story went through, it was all just a movie. And in canon, with the way the post-credit sequence is done, it's implied that our characters were actors within this movie, like Mikasa, Eren, and Armin. They were actors, so to speak, within the Attack on Titan movie. They went to go watch the movie that they starred in, and they took a hard look at it. That's kind of what it looks like to me. And so you can view as, like, everything was just a movie, no one really died, the world moves on. However, there's a few brief little words to really, add on to this that does clarify that maybe there is more to be believed with this conclusion that we let on. For instance, if you look at the bottom here, you see where they talk about, however, they're shocked that there really was Titans 100 years ago. Here, I want to zoom in for you guys can see this. But if you look here at the bottom, on this bottom page, you literally see that. However, it's hard to believe that there were really Titans 100 years ago. So, if we're more or less looking at what this relatively means, it's implied that this chapter and this post-credit sequence that is come out from the movie takes place 100 years after the events of Attack on Titan. And then a movie was made about it, which makes sense, like movies made of historical events happen in real life. So, more or less, if Attack on Titan's, age has progressed and we know they rebuilt, it would make a lot of sense that theoretically they would make a movie on the events. They might not be the exact same thing as maybe like, what happened, because maybe things were added for flair and drama, but overall, it potentially did happen. Which would be a critique, or more or less it would add another layer to the message of Attack on Titan, which actually I like in general, because Attack on Titan is more or less one of the themes of the story, is how history is rewritten by the winner, but also it's like both sides hate each other, and, the proper history of things has just been long lost, and people fill in the gaps with their own ideology, so to speak, and I feel like if a movie is made of that, it presses, like, this certain drama, it flares it up, and a lot of things are fake for a movie experience, it definitely will be kind of slightly rewriting history. It plays with those themes of Attack on Titan. And I do think that's actually pretty cool if that's indeed the case. But regardless, the ending is apparently a little bit different. I don't know if this is going to be a good or bad thing for people, but yeah. Tell me your thoughts. How do you feel about the post-credit sequence? Are you going to go watch this movie just to see the post-credit sequence? And do you think that this is potentially a hint at a supposed sequel? Let me know in the comments below. But I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching. May all of you have a fantastic day or night wherever you live. And I love you guys. Chibi out.